Regardless of what kind of secrets the military is hiding inside Area 51, it's clear visitors aren't welcome.
This is as far as we can go on public land.
That's the first thing that strikes me. There's no fence, just a pair of signs.
At first look, security at the base doesn't seem impressive. But soon, the complex layers of defense become apparent.
I noticed tripods on the hill. Those are watching us.
Cameras, they're looking down at us. They're looking at the road over there. You can't sneak by on this road.
And if you miss that, you don't miss our friends up here on the ridge.
Right.
In the pickup truck.
These guys are here 24 hours a day.
Ground sensors, remote cameras, and private security around the clock. Yet the desert itself may still be Area 51's best protection.
You know, when we came here, I expected to see a 15-foot barbed wire fence. There's no fence, just a series of these orange posts.
These posts are the only marker that you're required to have in Nevada to mark a boundary line. They don't need a fence here. They've got 13 miles of empty desert to protect the base.
Well, the sign's pretty typical. Warning, restricted area until you get to the bottom. Use of deadly force authorized. So we're actually 3 feet from being in a situation where we could be killed. Doesn't it make you wonder what's in there that it has to be so secret that they'd kill?
Could it be true alien visitors are being held at Area 51? Airing for the first time on network television, this video purportedly shows a live extraterrestrial on the base. He's apparently being observed by military workers through a glass partition. The source of the tape is a man who goes by the name of Victor. He won't reveal his identity for fear of retribution. Victor says the video was smuggled out when material from the base was being converted from analog to digital. He discussed the video with an altered voice in this 1996 interview.
Approximately twice a month, they sit it down for a session that generally lasts from 3 to 5 hours.
Victor claims the alien arrived on Earth in 1989 and was subject to regular interviews. In this session, he says the alien becomes distressed.
He's checking for hemorrhaging around the eye sockets and in the nasal cavity.
Victor believes the alien died in the mid-90s. We have no way to verify whether the video is authentic, but we'll take it to a creature effects expert in Los Angeles to test its plausibility. In the meantime, we scale a mountain in search of any sign of structures inside the restricted area.
Point is to hug these orange markers.
I haven't even seen the orange markers before.
There's
but we know the orange markers are to our right here.
We're losing daylight and only have orange posts to guide us. One wrong step into the invisible border means we could be arrested.
I see a structure off in the distance. What are we looking at there?
That's the actual guardhouse. That's the actual gate within the Nellis Range. So if you were to keep driving on the road past those signs and you got to that guardhouse, you'd be arrested immediately.
We continue to climb upwards until we can't go any farther.
Well, this is as high as we can get. It looks like we're at the end of our journey because I see what do you call them, camo guys?
Yeah, the camo dudes.
Are here. And some orange markers here. This is as far as we can go.
This is where the border changes.
I think our only option is to get in the air during daylight, and maybe I'll be able to get a glimpse and get some idea of what's in Area 51. But we're going to need daylight and a chopper.
Yeah.
Coming up, join us in the skies above the Nevada desert as we take you as close as you can get to the most infamous military base in the country.
We now know who we are and where we are. That's correct.
Is Area 51 the epicenter for a cover-up of alien life? Or is the base concealing earthly secrets that are much more disturbing?
Find out what happened at Area 51 and what humans did. That's scary enough.
When Inside Secret Government Warehouses continues. The only people who know what happens inside Area 51 are the employees, and their identities, even down to the cleaning staff, are kept secret.
That white bus with the darkened windows, we're told, ferries local workers from around Area 51 who come here to work each day.
Those not bussed in are flown in, shuttled back and forth on special unmarked planes.
They fly on a private private airline known over aircraft frequencies as Janet every morning from Las Vegas to Area 51.
This surveillance video shows workers returning from Area 51 on private 737s.
These are jets without any company markings. They just have a red stripe down the side.
Signing on to work at the base means agreeing to a covert lifestyle.
No one can even admit that they work there.
Jonathan Turley, a litigator in national security cases, first learned about Area 51 in 1994 when he was contacted by employees who were gravely ill.
You're basically told to go die. And they weren't supposed to talk to a lawyer, and they weren't supposed to talk to a doctor.
Despite having signed non-disclosure agreements, some workers told Turley they'd been exposed to toxic materials on base. One of them was a sheet metal worker named Robert Frost.
He couldn't tell the doctors where he was working or what he might have been exposed to. They could have put him in jail for it.
In 1994, I conducted this interview with Frost's widow, Helen. She told me about the first day her husband came home with symptoms.
He walked in a door, and he was screaming. I looked at him. His face was bright red, and all the skin was peeling off of his face.
Turley filed a lawsuit accusing the military of poisoning Area 51 workers through blatant negligence by recklessly disposing of hazardous waste.
They dug a football field-sized trench, and they would fill it every week with all types of hazardous and toxic wastes. And then they would just dump jet fuel on it and set it on fire.
Though the base was operating in secret, Turley says the impact on some workers was difficult to hide.
Many of them developed a strange condition that looked like fish scales on their body.
This was taken just before he quit in March of '89. And then he had these large sores on his back. He had those all over his body.
Turley's clients wanted to know what they were exposed to, but suing for information was a Kafkaesque task. At the time, the government denied Area 51 even existed.
At one point, I just told the judge, Your Honor, I can take you there. I can point you to it. You can see it. How can it not exist as a matter of physics, let alone the law?
Turley says it wasn't until he obtained satellite photos of the base that the government finally acknowledged some operations in the general area.
They believed that they lived in a special place that was not reachable by federal law, that even killing someone, it was just simply not something to be held accountable for.
Eventually, Turley filed several lawsuits on behalf of sick workers. The legal battle lasted for 9 years. Some of his clients died during this time. The lawsuits succeeded in prompting the government to start conducting environmental inspections on the base as required by law. And as a result, the court found one of the cases to be moot. Another one was dismissed for reasons of national security. In the end, Turley's clients got no answers, and disclosure of the legal inspections prompted by the lawsuit was deemed subject to a presidential exemption. This means they can be kept from the public, and they have been to this day.
This is a failure of immense proportions. It goes not just from the Air Force command at the facility, but extends all the way to the president himself. These were Americans. They had to be protected from their own government.
Turley says all the stories about aliens at the base have provided the military with an ideal smokescreen.
If everyone's looking for some galactic presence, they're not looking down on Earth for simple crimes. And so the government never really did try to kill the alien stories. They just wanted to kill the crime story.
And so, public interest in Area 51 and its alien legends has endured. Tourists come from all over just to get a glimpse inside the border.
there's all the signs and all the cameras watching you up in the hills and the guys in the trucks. It's like, okay, what do you really not want us to see that's back here? Like, what is it that you want hidden so well?
Major land restrictions in the 1980s and 1990s have closed off nearly every reasonable land-based vantage point into the facility. So we concoct another plan.
We really couldn't see anything from the ground, but we have another option. We've hired a helicopter, and we're going to go up and try to skirt around the restricted area and see what we can see.
Campbell, please meet you.
The sky is also now the focus for investigator Glenn Campbell as he prepares to monitor activity in the restricted airspace above the base with high-powered surveillance cameras.
I have 3 cameras recording 72 hours worth of video.
These 3 specialized cameras will record continuously and capture anything unusual overhead, day or night.
The idea is have Bald Mountain on one side, have this small peak on the other side. Looks nicer.
As we await the results, I head off to do some aerial surveillance of my own.
All right, I'm Tom.
It takes several calls before finding a pilot willing to take us anywhere near Area 51.
Well, these are restricted areas, and why they're restricted areas, they don't tell us.
How close can we legally get?
Well, it's recommended that you don't get closer than about 2 miles to the border.
Are we going to tell them what we're doing?
No, we're not going to tell them. We're just going to tell them we're going to be doing some flying, looking the area over if they ask.
Let's do it.
All right.
Okay, here we go. Squad 4373 and ident. 4373 with an ident for 9660 Hotel.
They now know who we are and where we are.
That's correct.
During our ascent, we overhear communications between air traffic controllers and the unmarked government commuter jets.
Janet 267, Nellis control radar contact, maintain 15,000.
That airplane he's talking to is one of the Janet airplanes. Like an aerial bus service.
Once we've flown over the highest mountain, Area 51 creeps into view.
I can actually see it from here.
We're probably about 10 miles from the border.
But just as soon as the base is within sight, a warning comes over the radio.
Helicopter 9660 Hotel, you familiar with that restricted airspace 3 miles to your west? 960 Hotel, affirmative. I'll be turning now. I won't get any closer than 2 miles to the restricted airspace. Copy that.
It's clear that again, like on the ground, we're being observed.
We are as close as we will be allowed to go to Area 51. This place is so restrictive that we legally can't even point our cameras in the direction of the base. We're at a little over 8,500 feet. It's a beautiful, clear day. This is absolutely the best view that anyone will be able to get of Area 51 from outside the restricted zone. I'm going to be able to tell you what I see as I look out. There are 2 what must be very, very large buildings, aluminum roofs. They shine very brightly. I can only surmise that they are hangars of some sorts. There are a number of lower-lying buildings. All of it seems to be along the edge of a dry lake bed. There is what appears to be a very long runway.
Our investigation has revealed as much visible evidence of the base as legally possible from the ground and from the air.
I'm guessing they're a little more comfortable when we're leaving this area.
More than likely.
And if we've learned anything, it's that the government is intent on keeping what's hidden inside this legendary military base a secret. After 72 hours monitoring the sky, our video surveillance captures some anomalies. An eerie desert storm sweeps through the area. A bright light floats along the horizon after dark. And then we discover this glowing disc in the corner of the screen. Upon examination, the light turns out to be a car driving on the desolate road. The disc, however, remains unexplained. Campbell says it could be the moon.
When you come to the desert and you look up at the night sky, you see more stars than you would ever see anyplace else. When you look up at all those million points of light, you got to be crazy to believe we're alone in the universe.
Coming up, Our investigation continues as we travel from coast to coast to analyze the evidence we've discovered on our journey. What will the purported alien interview video from Area 51 reveal? And could this mandible support theories of extraterrestrial life?
It's like nothing I've ever seen before.
Answers coming up next on Inside Secret Government Warehouses. Our investigation into secret government warehouses culminates with analysis of the potential smoking guns we've uncovered. Does this video of an alleged alien interview at Area 51 reveal the truth about life beyond Earth? And could this mandible prove alien remains have been hidden on bases like Wright Pat for decades? We'll explore all the possibilities with top experts, starting with one of the most sought-after creature effects artists in Hollywood.
I'm looking for that one piece of footage that is undeniable, that I can't look at or other people can't analyze to death.
Kevin Yeager designs creatures, aliens, and humans for a living, most notably Chucky from Child's Play and A Nightmare on Elm Street's Freddy Krueger. Yeager agrees to analyze the video using 25 years of experience in puppeteering and film.
The first thing that I saw, was an alien, and it actually looked like it was alive. If you look closely, you can see there's a small little mouth. It kind of looks like it's, pursing and moving like a natural mouth would. It's got big doughy eyes. It's got a big head, and it moves in a pathetic way, and you want to take care of it, and suddenly your heart is involved.
Just as Yeager starts to identify with the alien, he spots questionable movement.
There's some quick, jarring movements that every now and then see this little jerk bobblehead that happens here. Right there is kind of a jerk bob, and the shoulders move as well.
A telltale sign, he says, that the alien is a puppet. It's the head movement that tips Yeager off, and he uses this animatronic doll to explain.
Now, if you go slowly, like it was first moving very slowly, you can kind of take all the bobbles out. But then once he began to get kind of tired or go into his sick state, he began to wiggle and jiggle like this, and then that's what it kind of gives it away.
But when dealing with a life form we know nothing about, Yeager admits anything is possible.
Maybe the atmosphere here is different and the pressure, and they can't handle it, and the gravity, it is too hard on them, so they do bobble.
Still, Yeager says it looks like the setup is hiding something.
The darkness of the videotape, the fact that the alien is sort of back behind a desk, I believe that is to obscure a possible puppeteer behind there.
Yeager thinks the alien and the video are a hoax, but he says it wasn't a bad try.
There's certain organic elements to it, and I can totally see why people would think this is real.
Hoaxes do nothing but undermine efforts to get to the truth. With that in mind, we head to New York City to visit NYU dental anthropologist Shara Bailey. She has been studying the mandible we obtained during our investigation at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base.
The jaw shape is what struck me first, because the shape of this jaw is very narrow in the front part, and then it kind of dips in here, and then it's very wide in the back. And this is very unusual for a primate.
It makes this curve and then comes out.
Yeah, it's kind of like an S curve, I guess you might call it.
And certainly our teeth and jaws don't do that.
No, they don't.
Dr. Bailey has 2,000 primate casts, one of the largest collections in the nation, and she's compared the mandible to every single one.
Can you say with any fair amount of certainty that this is not from a primate?
Yes, I would put my career on it that it's not from a primate.
Although Bailey can't match the mandible to anything she's ever seen, her examination of the cast does reveal new information. The cast was made from a skeleton.
And this is of a living person.
Because we see the gum here?
Yeah, you can see the gum, and you absolutely can't see the gum here.
The creature lost its teeth after it died.
And there are also crypts. You can see that where the teeth might have been.
The remaining teeth show it was an omnivore.
It's something that eats both flesh and vegetables.
And dimensions of the jaw indicate the size of the creature itself.
This is a macaque, but it has a jaw similar in size to this. And so whatever this creature was, it was the size of a small dog.
And the skull size would be similar as well to match this?
Yeah, there's a very good correlation between jaw size and skull size.
The cast has some characteristics that strike Bailey as peculiar, including signs of being scraped with a tool.
It's definitely been modified. So that I can tell you. Whether it's authentic and it was modified for some other reason, it's very hard to tell.
She also questions the apparent human-like dental pattern, which could disprove the notion that the cast came from an alien skeleton.
If we're an alien and evolved on a different planet, totally separate from us, why would we ever expect it to have the dental pattern, the same number of teeth and the same types of teeth as a human? It's very odd.
If in fact this came from another planet, how would you begin to really compare it to find out what it is?
All I can do is compare it to living things on this planet. This mandible is not of any creature that comes from our Earth, that's for sure.
This alleged alien artifact tied to our nation's most complex Air Force base may be just the tip of the iceberg of what the government doesn't want us to know. Could this be one of the many secrets locked away in classified government warehouses around the globe? And is there a real Warehouse 13?
In the end, we can't say for certain what's below ground or hidden behind closed doors. What we do know is that there will always be information those in power don't want us to know about. And as a society, we have the right and the responsibility to keep asking, to keep pushing, to discover what they don't want us to know and why. I'm Lester Holt. Thank you for watching.